first step to attach the sleeve is to sew the underarm seam. There's a back and front notch. There's 2 notches for the back, 1 notch for the front. So just match up the underarm seam and pin it in place. Then when that's done, you're going to sew a 1 centimetre seam and press it open. Next you'll be putting in a gathering stitch, and you're going to do that from the front to the back notches. So change your stitch length to 5. And then your first line of stitches is going to be 5mm away from the edge. So you can see I'm starting from the back notch there. And remember not to back stitch, as you're going to be pulling on the thread to gather it. So once you get to the front notch, you can stop. Again, don't backstitch there, and leave the thread nice and long so that you've got something that you can pull. So pull the threads to the back, ready to start again, and you're going to do a second line of stitching, 5mm away from the first. So use the machine foot as a guide. And be careful not to stitch over any of the long threads that you've left. So now you've got 2 threads that you can pull. You've got the bobbin thread and the top thread. So separate them. It doesn't matter which side you pull, just only pull one side of them. So pulling it gently, try not to break the threads. Move the fabric along. You can do it all in one go. I prefer to do one side and then the other towards the middle. It doesn't matter the amount that you do, because once you've pinned it on, you'll spread it out so that it's all spread out evenly. So with your shirt the right way round and your sleeve also the right way round, pin the side seam to the underarm seam. Match up the front notches, which is the single notch. Then match up the back notches, which is the double notch. And then once you've done that, you're going to work from the inside of the shirt. So find the centre notch and match that up with the shoulder seam. Then you can see the parts where there's no gathering, these match up exactly. So just put some more pins in there to hold them in place so you can sew them in a minute. And then you just want to spread out where you've done the gathering so that matches around the top. It's easier to take some time doing this rather than having to unpick it and stitch it again later. The reason we have the extra fabric, it's called the ease, is so that the shirt sleeve fits around the curve of the shoulder. If it fitted perfectly without any ease, it would always look like the shirt was too tight. So spread out the gathers and put in as many pins as you need to hold it in place. And then you're going to sew it. So starting from the underarm where it's flat and sewing at 1 centimetre. So stitch around, taking out your pins as you go. So when you get to the gathers, take your time doing this. You want the piece that you're sewing to be flat under the foot. So stitch a little bit, make sure it's spread out so that there's no gathers or tucks. You can see here there's quite a big tuck in that part there. So I'm just going to spread that out so that when I stitch over it, it's actually going to be flat. All the time making sure you still got the edge of the sleeve against the 1 centimetre seam allowance marker. And then keep on going until you get back to the underarm seam. Back tack at that point, and then cut off any loose threads. So if we turn it around at this point, you can see it's all flat, there's no gathers or tucks around the top of the sleeve. So when you've done that, you can take out your gathering stitches. This is just so it looks a bit neater on the inside. And then take it over to the overlocker, and you're going to overlock the sleeve and the armhole all in one go. So when it's finished, it looks nice and neat, like that.